Welcome in, everybody, to the first episode of the 49erverse podcast. I'm your host, Matt Daniel, joined by my co-host, John Gallagher. How are you feeling now that Trey Lance is officially the quarterback of the 49ers?
I am elated. The Trey area is rejoicing.
Yep. It feels like a weight off my shoulders now that we know who it is. We don't have to stress about it. We don't have to project what Kyle's thinking. We know it's Trey Lance, and we can just, be happy about it.
Yeah, and no stress at all for me. This is who I wanted. Mm-hmm. I couldn't be more excited to see what they do.
Yeah, for sure. So before we get into it, we're going to be recapping the whole draft. Now that the dust is settled, we've had some time to really, dive into each of the guys we took. But before we get into that, make sure to follow us on Twitter. You can find me at Matt_NFL_. John can be found at Genghis_John_. And our podcast Twitter is at 49erverse. Also, make sure to sub to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/the 49erverse podcast. We'll be doing podcasts. We'll be doing live streams here and there. You're definitely not going to want to miss all the high quality content. Did I miss anything, or did I cover all my bases?
I think all the bases were covered.
All right. Let's get into some news and notes around the 49er verse, as they say, as we say.
That's what we say.
Yeah. So rumors continuing to swirl about possible Richard Sherman return. How are you feeling about that?
I like it. I don't think he's going to demand a ton of money. I mean, he didn't really demand that much when he negotiated his own contract. The veteran leadership, I think, is an incredibly underrated asset. And I wouldn't hate it at all. The kind of competitive spirit he has too. It's good for the Niners.
For sure. I think especially we drafted 3 secondary pieces during the draft.
Yeah.
So I think, having him there is going to be huge. We got a pretty young cornerback room.
Yep.
And Sherman, no one's been better than Sherman over the years. He's proven that he's the smartest secondary guy, maybe of all time. He's basically, the extra coach. The only thing, negative I would say towards that is that he does come at the right price because, I think that most likely it's going to be an incentive-based one like he did the first time, kind of like because he believes that he still has, the juice to be, an elite corner. He's probably going to be a Pro Bowl incentive type contract like he did last time.
I'd be thrilled.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want. That's pretty much a win-win.
Yeah.
Because, if he ends up not doing anything, then you just get the locker room presence, but you don't have to pay him.
Right.
It's a win-win. He also said he would be ecstatic to resign, so we know that he wants to. So
yeah, that's great.
Get something worked out.
Mm-hmm.
Next, they announced the preseason schedules. Phase 1 is going to be on April 19th. It's going to be virtual meetings. They cut down phase 2, which is, I think, when players are going to start to report. So that's coming up soon in a couple weeks. 2 weeks now.
You say April 19th?
May.
I was like, they got a DeLorean?
Okay. Yeah, that's not bad. May 14th is when phase 1 ends.
Okay.
And that's when virtual meetings end. And then phase 2 is when they can have in-person drills.
Okay.
And all that. And then phase 3, they can do a little bit more. They can do 7-on-7s. It says they can do 7-on-7s and 11-on-11 drills, but no contact is permitted. So I don't really know how that would work.
So no pads yet? So they're still in shorts?
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
Okay.
What it meant. I was thinking like COVID contact, but I guess it would mean more in the football.
No, yeah. I think they just mean they're not hitting each other yet.
Yeah, okay. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
And then training camp dates will be announced soon. How are you feeling about the number changes? I saw Jaquiski Tartt's going to 26, Barrett's going to 2, and even Juice Check flirted with number 6 on Instagram.
I mean, I like it if it makes the players happy. If I'm being honest, it looks a little goofy to me.
Especially your fullback at 6. Like I could not.
Fullback at 6
too.
Like, why does my safety have a really cool running back number? Like that feels weird to me. But I'm not the one who has to suit up and play. So if they like it, you know what I'm saying? If they dig it and then they're excited to play more and that number brings out just a little extra, fucking let's go.
Yeah. My only gripe with it as a jersey collector It sucks. I don't have any of their jerseys, luckily, but it would suck if I spent $100 on a jersey, then they change their numbers.
They change the number. Yeah, they've got to have some kind of buyback system.
Yeah, well, they have to. Apparently, if you change your number, you have to buy the entire inventory that they have for your jersey from like the NFL.
Interesting.
Doesn't really benefit the fans, but I guess it helps.
Right.
Yeah.
It'll just be weird. Like quarterbacks are calling like number 4's the mic.
Yeah,
well,
right.
That's weird, man.
Yeah, right. Because I think Micah Parsons is wearing 11. It's like 11's the mic.
11's the mic. Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I think it's cool. I just hope that I just don't like it for the reason that I wouldn't want my jersey to become expired because somebody changed their number. But
yeah. It's a weird one. But if the players like it, have fun.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of the point.
Yeah.
And look good, play good, right?
Right.
All right.
Play
so
good,
let's
get paid good.
Yeah. Right. All right. So let's get to the first pick, 3rd overall, Trey Lance, North Dakota State. Probably one of the most questioned picks in a long time. Like this was like the pick everyone had, nobody knew. Everyone speculated. Everyone said it was Mac Jones, but then everyone was just like, no, we refuse. Every news source was saying it was Mac, but everybody on, the public was just like, there's no way. We refuse to believe it.
Right.
We were right. It wasn't.
Yeah, it shows the fan base has got a little bit of a little smarts to them.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, for sure. And
not a fan base of sheep.
Yeah, right.
They don't just read the headlines and then go with it.
No. It goes to show you though that Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch run a tight ship.
Yep.
They're not leaking because all it takes is one.
Yeah.
One leak. I mean, one did say it was going to be Mac or Trey, but I don't think that was actually Kyle Shanahan saying any of that because he just said they said it was Mac Jones and I just went with it.
Which is exactly what you should do.
Yeah, if you want to make a smokescreen for me and I don't have to do any work.
Right. Not gonna help you there.
Yeah, absolutely.
What I thought was interesting though is if people were reading though and were paying attention, wasn't Trey Lance the only player that they did a second pro day with?
So they did a second pro day with Justin Fields.
Okay.
They didn't go to his first one. And then
they'd only had one in-person meeting with Justin Fields.
Yes.
Okay. And then they made a point to have 2 with Trey Lance.
Did they have a second one or did they just go to his second one?
I thought they had a second one. So I thought that they made a point to go back out to see Trey Lance. I remember NBC Sports reporting on that. And
I don't know.
I read that and I was like, well, I don't see them doing that for Mac. I I didn't see that for Justin. I was like, that kind of says a lot. But even during when I was reading those reports, the other reports around it were like, nope, it's got to be Mac.
Mm-hmm.
And not saying Mac's a bad football player, but I'm glad that we have Trey Lance.
Yeah, I think the biggest tell for me was the videos where it would show Mac Jones make a throw, and then it would show Kyle Shanahan's face, and he's just like, and then it would show him with Justin Fields, and it showed him with Trey Lance, and he's happy, and he's, it just seemed like you could just tell by his face it wasn't Mac Jones. That was the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, I agree. You didn't see him look excited, when he was watching Mac. You saw some excitement when he was watching Trey. Yeah. I don't know about Justin Fields. I didn't see those.
Yeah, he usually wears his emotion on his sleeve too.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Sometimes when Nick Mullins would overthrow a wide receiver by 20 yards, he would make no attempt to hide his frustration.
Same with Jimmy. I watched Jimmy throw some incompletes, and then I watched Kyle Shanahan mouth, what the fuck?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's kind of nice because as I'm yelling "what the fuck" on my couch,
the coach is doing it too.
Kyle Shanahan do it, and I'm like, all right, cool. We both think that that's terrible.
We both thought that wasn't the way it should have gone.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, and then I don't really know what else to say. I mean, he's probably not gonna start. I mean, he might. I mean, Jimmy's a bad practice quarterback. He's kind of known for that. He's kind of just a gamer. Will go out in the moment and he'll perform usually, but he's not really typically a good practice quarterback. I remember last year there was a big deal about him throwing 7 interceptions in practice.
Remember that? Yeah, I do remember that.
So I mean,
I was okay with that though. Get him out in practice.
Yeah, right. I didn't worry about it as much as some people did. But
well, also it's like, all right, you're throwing 7 interceptions in practice. Our defense sounds like it's good, and then they fucking were,
Right.
So
yeah,
so it's like
that's another thing too. It's like every quarterback was throwing 7 interceptions.
That's what I'm saying. Like you can read that and be like, oh, the offense is doomed, or you can read that and be like, man, defense seems like it's firing.
Yeah, there's definitely it's like a half glass half full kind of thing, right?
Which is like football isn't a one. It's not. You don't only play offense in football.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that so many people read that and were like, well, this is a doomed season,
mm-hmm.
and then they couldn't just see a step further and be like, hey, defense seems like it's playing well early.
Yeah, and I remember they asked Kyle Shanahan about it, and he was like, I was actually coaching defense that day. He's like, I was happy about it. He's like,
right.
He's like, defense is balling out,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I kind of, man, I'm hoping. I think best case scenario is Jimmy comes out and he balls. He just, increases his trade stock. We could get some value for him, and then it's Trey Lance time. I mean,
yes.
I don't know I don't think there's any scenario where Trey Lance starts week 1, even if Trey Lance does ball out in camp. I think it's still going to be Jimmy at least, a few weeks. I think Jimmy would have to lose his job in a game.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I wouldn't be surprised if Trey Lance gets started earlier than people are expecting.
I think there's like a kind of how like the Miami did it with Fitzpatrick and Tua.
Mm-hmm.
Not, week 1 they started Fitz. I mean, Tua was a little different because he had that hip thing, but
yeah.
Trey Lance just hasn't played football in so long. If he sits for a whole year, I'm a little worried that he's going to have 2 years without playing a real football game. You just aren't getting those same reps in practice, and that kind of concerns me.
I'm not as concerned. He'll get work. Like he'll be ready.
Yeah.
Like those are NFL staffs. They're not just making sure Trey Lance is just like sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
He's gonna get put to work.
Yeah. I guess I don't know. It's hard to gauge NFL speed even in practice until you're in a game under the lights,
It's true.
But preseason, I think will tell a lot. I'm really excited to see that because then we know we're going to see him.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Run the ball too much and hurt himself.
Yeah. I mean, what if he lights it up in the preseason? How do you feel? What if he balls?
If he comes in, well, he's probably going to not get first team reps, so he's going to be playing the second team defense.
Okay.
I mean, maybe they will give him a game to see how he does against the first team.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to vary who we're playing, all that stuff. He would have to really just put on a fireworks show against a defense that I knew wasn't like, if we're going against Detroit, second team, and he lights it up, I'm gonna need him to show me again. You know what I mean?
I get it, but I mean, even a second team defense in the NFL is still light years ahead of a lot of college defenses.
Yes, I've just seen so many people go in to preseason and just ball, and I'm like, okay, like this guy, and then it's like, oh, never mind. It was just because he was playing second team. Because there is a different level.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, I mean, just the fact that they're going to be playing harder in the regular season too.
Yeah. But if you see him make the reads, you see him execute decisions quickly.
Yeah, that is true. That
I'm going to get excited.
Really yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what matters.
Yeah.
Does he understand this playbook?
Uh-huh. Yeah. I don't know how similar. I'm not sure what type of offense they ran at North Dakota State, so I'm not sure if he's similar. I'm curious how much Kyle Shanahan's going to change his.
They say pro style. They said pro style. I mean, that seems kind of like a loaded term, though.
Yeah, right. That's kind of like a get out of jail card. Just it's pro style.
They did a lot of play action. They did a lot of zone schemes and zone reads, which it was early on why I was like, dude, Trey Lance is an athlete in this scheme. Like, this could be filthy.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm wondering how much playbook change is going to come because I don't know if he's going to be like, well, this is my system, Trey Lance, you can fit into it and you can run it. Or is he going to say, well, now I have a different type of quarterback. I need to be implementing a different type. Not really necessarily a whole scheme, but it's more so just like, okay, now I'm going to be running more options and, stuff like that.
No, I think he's already been working with a mismatched QB for a system, and now he has one that fits it.
Okay.
I think he's had the square peg in the round hole scenario. As serviceable as Jimmy G was, he's not the dude who slices and dices the defense and then can also make plays with his legs the way that Trey Lance can. And Shanahan schemes a lot of things open where if you have just a little bit of juice in those legs, you can take off for a while.
Yeah. Well, I remember pre ACL Jimmy. He was actually a lot more athletic back then.
Yeah,
and so much of our offense will run off of a play action bootleg, where you don't need to be, Trey Lance. It helps that he is as athletic as he is, but just having that step to where you can get to the edge and then create, enough time to be able to make the play. That's just kind of
convert on third.
Convert on third down especially is where it's huge. And I think we were pretty bad on third down last year compared to years prior. So
yeah. Best way I can look at it is the Shanahan offense is a premier automobile that, and he's been using, regular unleaded gas in it for a little while, and it didn't like it. It's gotten him from point A to point B just fine, but it does stall out. It does, give you some putts and some blown tailpipes.
Yeah.
And I think now that he's putting this premium gasoline in here with Trey Lance, I think it's going to run smoothly.
He was getting those conventional oil changes. Now he's getting synthetic.
The synthetic.
That's what it is.
Yep.
All right. So do you have anything else about Trey, or do you want to move on?
I'm just happy about it, ready and excited.
I agree. All right. So with the second pick in the 48th overall, they took Aaron Banks, a guard out of Notre Dame. So they traded back 5 spots. They used that second pick to be able to trade up to get Trey Sermon next. So that was big. Banks is a huge dude, 6'5", 325, All-American, only allowed 2 sacks in his whole career at college in 3 seasons. Crazy.
And then the word out of Notre Dame is that he was the guy that was leading a lot of their conditioning drills.
Okay.
So he's athletic. He's the guy. So I think that the Niners do believe. I think that the scouting report was that he's not really a mover, but according to Notre Dame, this is exactly what he is. He led the offensive linemen in their conditioning drills. He's big, walking around at 325, 330. And I think that Kyle and John Lynch saw somebody that they believe could get to the next level effectively and put somebody on their behind.
Yeah, for sure. I was surprised when I saw a report saying the issue was his athleticism, and then I also saw he was a basketball player and he was averaging 31 points per game in high school or something.
I didn't see that.
So he was an elite basketball prospect. So if you're, like Antonio Gates was, if you can't play basketball at a high level like that and not be athletic.
Right.
And also be able to go play right guard,
at a high level. Yeah. So I'm wondering if the COVID restrictions where a lot of scouts couldn't get access or couldn't see as many players as they wanted. I'm wondering if there was some lazy takes if they saw 330 and then just said, I'm not athletic, I can't move. Because the word out of Notre Dame is their coaches saw him, the guy busting ass the most in conditioning drills, and that says a lot, especially if you're walking around at 330 and the other linemen weren't that big.
Yeah, right. And just being that big, you're just that much harder to move, and then you add athleticism on top of it.
Yeah.
It's like Trent Williams, that's a big man, but he has also has the best footwork in football. So
he's got a lot of real good traits.
And I think if we shore up the guard, we're golden. I mean, McGlinchey can be shaky at times, but I mean, we're good at tackle then, Brunskill was, had his moments.
Serviceable. Tomlinson serviceable.
Tomlinson serviceable. I think once Brunskill is a good backup guard. He's not the guy you want, putting out there every week. So I think if he's as good as I think he is, our offensive line is pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm hoping he plays well enough to start, because he's the one that I'm most excited about in terms of upside. Big man, and he can move. I've seen what the other guys can do, and they are good for a spell, but sometimes it doesn't look as strong as I think it should. But those three main pieces with Trent Williams, Alex Mack, and McGlinchey, those are great. Those are great foundations to keep. I hope McGlinchey shakes off a little bit of the rust that he showed last season, and he returns to how I saw him playing his rookie year, which I thought was pretty great.
Yeah, I think he needs to put on a little more weight. I think he cut a lot. I don't know how much he lost, but he looked skinny last season. So
last season, okay.
I think he did it, to try to fit more into the scheme where the tackle has to move a lot, has to get to second level fast, which is understandable, but because he was a great run blocker. He just terrific. To get that size to be able to pass block well.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on, at 88th, we took Trey Sermon, running back from Ohio State. We traded 2 fourths to move up. We traded with the Rams, so with the division rival. So if you're trading, that tells you that Kyle Shanahan, is big on this guy. So he ran for like 3,000 yards, 6.5 yards a carry, great contact balance. Not really the typical 49ers running back. That's more of Elijah Mitchell, I think, but
I agree with that.
It's interesting when I saw the pick. I wasn't expecting this because like I said, he doesn't fit the mold of Raheem Mostert's, that breed of speed,
I agree with that, but I think if they were testing attitude at the combine, this guy would be a first round pick. So I think they saw that and they really like this dude's demeanor. This guy comes to play and he is a tough runner. So I love the physicality they're bringing to it. And then, we'll talk about him later, but to take Elijah Mitchell a few picks down the line, I thought was incredibly smart in terms of like that scheme fit. So I think that they are, getting Aaron Banks, getting a big mauler who hopefully is athletic too and puts a lot of people on their back in the second level, paired with this attitude with Trey Sermon, I think it establishes a really physical identity on offense that is going to be like, because it's not really what the people think of the 49ers at the moment. Like Kyle Shanahan kind of slices and dices you. He's got some zone run schemes that could be a home run hit if they get to the outside, but not really punching you in the mouth, right? Not really going right at your face. And when they took Aaron Banks and they took Trey Sermon, I think that they got a little bit of that injected into the offense.
Yeah, and I think that Trey Sermon is exactly that. He's gonna, he's gonna lower his head. A lot of the knocks that I saw on Sermon was about his speed and his agility, which wasn't really as bad as everyone made it seem to be. But if you watch him on film, he's just impossible to tackle.
He's incredibly hard to tackle. The way that he hits the hole is so hard and so violent, but also with this level of smooth feet and kind of smooth transitions to when he sees either the next linebacker or the safety coming up. He's got really great vision. So that knock on his speed doesn't mean a lot to me, especially if you're going to deploy him in the red zone. Like if you're 20 yards to a touchdown, I don't care about the speed. He's going to hit the hole and good luck. Somebody's going to have to go heads up with him. And what he showed me at Ohio is that he wants the contact. If you want to go tackle him, good luck. He's coming.
Yeah, and you don't need home run speed. I think
especially on the red zone. Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah, you don't need to hit a home run when you're at third base.
Right. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
And I because the last 3 running backs are leading rushers have all been undrafted free agents. So the fact that he's spending so much capital on Trey tells me he has a plan for him. He's going to give him touches probably sooner rather than later. Mostert, Wilson, and Gallman are all free agents next year.
Yeah.
So I would not be surprised if none of them come back. Maybe one, maybe Wilson. I would not be shocked if this is Mostert's last season.
I was going to say, if any of them cost money, I don't think they're coming back.
Yeah, I honestly would not be shocked if he gets cut.
Mostert gets cut?
Because
I think can get it. I think they get something for
him. Maybe they could. Maybe they could trade him. But if they can't find a suitor for him, we have so many running backs. If Trey Sermon comes in and balls, and then Elijah Mitchell comes in and balls, it's like, well, we have Jeff Wilson, we have Michael Hasty, Wayne Gallman. So one of them is not going to make the team.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if Gallman is got a short stay with the Niners.
Gallman's probably going to get cut.
He's probably the most expendable. I do like his skill set. I think it's very serviceable. But he's a little bit older now, right? And
I think he's like 27, 26.
Okay.
He's kind of just like a utility back. He can do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, he'd be a guy where if we did anything longer than a year deal, I'd have some questions.
Yeah. He's pretty much just going to take the Tevin Coleman role, which was pretty limited.
Yeah, but when Tevin Coleman was good, he was a lot better than Wayne Gallman.
Prime Tevin Coleman is a whole different. I'm talking 49ers Tevin Coleman.
Yeah, which is a bummer, man. I was really high on Coleman.
I know, right?
Shanahan's getting his guy, dude, reuniting from those Atlanta days, and I saw some flashes in Atlanta.
Well, I saw some flashes in San Francisco, like Carolina game where he scored like 4 touchdowns one game. Yeah, that was beautiful. And then it just kind of went away.
It never was consistent.
And then Mostert just ran for like 350 yards a game.
Yeah, when Mostert's on, that is a fun guy to watch.
Yeah, he's kind of, if he gets hot, he is pretty much he's going to score.
The speed is gnarly. The speed, yeah.
Yeah, once if he's in open field, it's over.
Underrated hands too. A lot of those touchdowns were like slants over the middle where he just gassed. He just fucking stepped on the gas and burned the whole secondary.
Yeah, I think the one week 1 against Arizona was like a slant of some sort out of the backfield, and he took it across, similar to the one that Jeff Wilson did against Arizona,
right?
In that game winner. So let's go to the next one. Ambry Thomas, cornerback out of Michigan.
Love it.
Finally got some cornerback help. We were both big on Asante Samuel. He was available when the Niners were on the board. They traded back. They moved back. And the Chargers picked him right before.
Man, ripped my heart out.
But John Lynch said that they didn't snipe us. It was Aaron Banks the whole way. They just thought that he was going to be there, so they traded back. So they never wanted him. Ambry Thomas opted out of 2020, but he was a monster in 2019. He's a good scheme fit.
Yep. I think that's another attitude pick too.
He does have that. A lot of the guys they drafted in this class have that. I think that they kind of like that type of mindset. Same with safety from USC. They play angry and they play hard.
Well, we got a lot of players with some great attitudes currently, but a lot of it was really positive and chipper. But a lot of them got injured, so there was a lot of positivity, a lot of feel good vibes, which I'm all for. Yeah. But I think that they looked at Trey Sermon, they looked at Banks, they looked at Angry. I like calling him that. Yeah. They looked at that and they're like, you know what? These guys are so gritty and so down to play. We need, as much as we have these feel good, positive vibes, let's get a little more grit. And I think it's going to be a wonderful cocktail.
I call it the Quan Alexander effect. You just play so hard that your body just can't keep up, and you
That was Reuben Foster too before he started making bad, decisions off the field.
Man, that would have been. He would have been so good,
dude. He was a missile.
We've had some weird linebacker luck. I think we were just spending all of our bad luck until we got Fred Warner, because we had what was that guy's name?
Borland, the guy that retired.
Borland, the guy that retired after 1 year. Good. And it was like right after Willis retired, and we're like, wow, we lose Willis and we get him the next year.
We get Boyle. We're so lucky.
I know, right?
Then he said he had headaches, and he's like, I'm going to retire.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah. That's all right. We got Fred.
We got Fred, dude. Fred's so real. And Greenlaw.
Yeah.
So those two are real.
Yep. All right. So let's move on. We picked Jalen Moore, 155th, tackle out of Western Michigan. Another big guy, 6'4", 311. A lot of people think he's going to come and play guard. But
that'd be great.
So I don't think it's a tackle pick. It seems like we're pretty good at tackle. I think it's going to move Mikovits back to tackle, because that's what he came out as, I think. Which I like, because you draft a quarterback, now you're going to get people to protect him,
right?
Because like we saw with Cincinnati, they draft Joe Burrow, and then they did draft Jonah Williams that year.
2 years ago now,
2 years, and then. Why do they not draft Penny Sewell? Why are they not drafting help? You're going to kill him.
They must think that Bengals line has taken a step forward in the offseason.
It must. But I mean, it was a need for us, but it wasn't. I didn't expect to take 2.
I think it was smart. I think our interior line situation is not good. I think at best it's okay. So we need the depth, and I'm hoping that the scouting jobs done on these players is that they have upside to beat or to win out their camp battles and be the starters. The way that these guys are graded and the way they look, that could happen. The 49ers starters last season were definitely serviceable, but I definitely think that there are upgrades that can be made at that position, that interior line. So if they get into camp and they show that they're a little stronger, a little faster, can hit those blocks a little harder, I'm ecstatic.
Yeah, and we've seen firsthand how important an offensive line is. We saw it even Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
Couldn't do anything without his offensive line. So,
well, to the Chiefs' credit, they made a lot of off-season moves to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Yeah, right. They saw this can't happen.
Yeah, and they made real moves. They got some good players to protect them now.
Yeah, they definitely did make some good moves. I mean, when you've got Patrick Mahomes, you just have to protect him. That's pretty.
Yeah, there's no reason not to question. To get all the protection for that, because then it'll work. As long as Mahomes is upright, your offense is gonna flourish.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. And so I'm glad we took a similar approach and understand that we need to, keep Trey Lance safe. We need to keep Jimmy safe.
Yeah.
There was just too many times where the ball would get snapped and there would be a dude in Jimmy's mouth or in Nick Mullen's mouth. And, man, it's just, they're just getting hit like rag dolls. It's just, you just never want to do it.
The criteria for a 49ers lineman is a little different because of the scheme and what they're asked to do. Like that is a lineman group that is asked to do a lot of moving, and that's not abnormal in the NFL at this point, but it's not something that a lot of linemen are ultra comfortable doing, and especially when they, transition from rookie to the NFL.
For sure. Because you're not going to be doing those type of complex movements in college, and
not a ton.
So, all right. So moving on, 172nd, I don't know. I apologize if I pronounced your name wrong. Diamador Lenoir, cornerback, Oregon. I know they call him Demo.
So that's what we're calling him then, Demo.
Yeah, that's where not to be confused with Devo.
We will never trip over that name again. Demo.
Demo it is. He was second team all conference. He's pretty much a spitting image of Emmanuel Mosley. I'm pretty sure their height is the same, their weight is the same, and their 40 time was the same. So he can play in. I think he came out to play nickel, but Kyle said that he thinks he can play in and out. So I think it's a pretty good, good depth piece. He said that he thinks he can start, and he doesn't draft players to be backups. He only drafts players who he thinks he can start. So I think it's a pretty good pick. I'm happy with it. We drafted a lot of.
I have to look more at his tape before I can say specifically if I think he's dope or not.
Yeah.
But the things I've read so far are that, it is a good pick at the position.
Yeah, I don't really know much more to say about him. I think we can talk a little bit more about, I'm going to butcher another name, Talanoa Hufanga.
Hufanga, dude!
USC, 180th overall, Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year. My comp for him is Troy Polamalu. He's a great tackler.
USC, sure, you can make that.
USC, Samoan, big safety, can sack, tackles for loss.
But we have to pump the brakes on a Troy Polamalu
that is
comparison.
A pretty good comp to me.
Pretty good. Just Troy Polamalu.
I like it. I think it is accurate, and I'm sticking by it.
You're sticking by. That is a Babe Ruth pointing to the sky, swinging for the fences projection there.
He also did hit it out of the park. So
he is a big hitter. I like him a lot. I especially like the versatility he brings in terms of coming in to be, either inline safety or nickel coming up. I don't know if I'm ready to call him Troy Polamalu. He didn't seem to have that IQ. You could put Troy Polamalu at free safety. You could put him single high, and he's making that play. As much as I like this fella, that's not where I think he thrives. I think he thrives in his versatility and the fact that with help at the safety position, he's going to come up and hit, and he can cover linebackers, he can cover running backs, and he can be good in this scheme.
Yeah, I think. Well, we did it with Marcel Harris last year, where we played him at nickel linebacker, and it seemed to work pretty well. But I don't think that's really Marcel Harris's strong suit, although he is, serviceable, being able to do that.
Yeah, I don't think he's.
But this is more up Hufunga's alley, where he can play that nickel corner. He can guard tight ends. He can guard wide receivers. Super versatile, super athletic. He's going to be a big special teams guy. He said
big hitter.
Yeah, he said his goal for his rookie year was to make the special teams Pro Bowl. So the Pro Bowl has special teams. So
that is such a good rookie goal too.
Yeah,
coaches love that.
And we had the worst special teams the past 3 years. Our special teams has been fucking garbage.
Oh man,
awful. So anything. Speaking to special teams. Who was it? Ambry Thomas or was it Demo? One of them is a special teams guy, kickoff returner.
Oh, cool.
I think it was Demo. He averaged 20 yards per return in college. So
not too shabby.
Richie James was okay, but I think I am okay with him not returning.
Yeah, and as I heard some clamoring for people who are like, dude, why don't we let Ayuk return kicks? It's because I want Ayuk for 16 games. That's why. Mm-hmm. I want him
both of his knees, and I want him to stay where they are. And
I want him in the offense anytime we need him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I understand it, but it's when Debo was hurt the whole year, you just can't have him return kicks.
Dude, when you know how valuable those receivers are in the system, you can't gamble on those special teams plays.
Yeah, not to mention special teams injury. Most injuries occur on special teams. So
special teams is a madhouse.
Yeah. So lastly, let's talk about your guy. I'm dubbing him your guy.
Yeah.
Lastly, Elijah Mitchell, running back, Louisiana.
I like him. Yeah, he's got some traits that very similar to why I liked Trey Lance early on. There's some traits here where you put him in the system and it can really take off. So the speed that this guy has, and then the value and where we got him. Huge payoff. So, if he turns out just to be a regular guy, whatever. It was a late pick, and it's not going to burn us.
6th round pick.
Yeah, not that. That's a dart throw, and as far as dart throws go.
Yeah.
So, no, don't get burned if he's just a guy. But I don't think he's just a guy. I think there's some speed that will complement this scheme so well. And people are going to be worried, when they realize that, they let this guy with some speed, get into the Shanny system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I bet you there are a bunch of defensive coordinators who said, who let Elijah Mitchell go to the 49ers? It's just it's literally a matchup made in heaven.
If they're not asking that question, it's because they're too preoccupied thinking, fuck. Mm-hmm. This guy's this guy's a Niner now, and he's got speed. Yeah. So if we're not scheming for Mostert, we're scheming heavy to stop Trey Sermon. If we're not scheming heavy to stop Trey Sermon, we got to scheme for speed with Mitchell. Mm-hmm. It's speed, heavy speed. There's such a good combo on offense paired with all right, you scheme for any of that, and Kittle's going to be open up down the middle. Ayuk on an end around, Debo, they're going to cut you up.
Yeah.
So the fact that there's this much to account for just in the running back game for the 49ers, I think is going to be filthy.
Yeah. And like you said, it's a 6th round pick, and it's the same with Hufunga. He has had some injury issues. He broke his collarbone twice, broke his shoulder. It's because, he plays so hard.
Right.
Elijah Mitchell was supposed to be higher than a 6th round pick. He was projected to fall. Kyle Shanahan said he didn't even want 2 running backs, but he saw Elijah Mitchell in the 6th. I don't care if I need to get somewhere else with this pick. I'm going to take it because the value is just so high. Right. It's like if you're playing fantasy. I have 2 quarterbacks already, but a good quarterback falls to me.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take it because the value is there.
Value's there. Maybe he's your starter. Maybe you can wheel and deal somebody that you're not as high on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like it. It gives you some flexibility.
Yep, for sure. All right, so let's talk a little bit about our biggest takeaway as far as the 49ers go and positions we took versus didn't take. So my biggest one is we took no wide receivers.
Okay.
We did sign Austin Watkins from, I don't remember what college from, but we picked him up as undrafted free agent. But the fact that we took no wide receivers tells me, because when we were up, we had a chance to take Elijah Moore, Rondell Moore, some good wide receivers, even later than that, some other good receivers. We decided not to. So what that tells me is that it's Jalen Hurd time. It's Juwan Jennings time.
Yeah.
We have Kyle Shanahan said that they already have the receivers in the room that they think are going to be able to get them through the year. Jalen Hurd's rehab's going really well. They've been in contact with him. So I think it speaks volumes about the progress that Jalen Hurd's made in the offseason towards getting better.
Definitely. But also the way that they took interior line as a priority, and then the two running backs. I also see a lot of just two wide personnel. Kittle is still a weapon. Like they don't need a third receiver if Kittle is getting open. So I'm incredibly excited for Jalen Hurd. I think that he can ball out, and I hope that he's healthy and ready to ball out. It's just with the picks I saw, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a more run heavy, a more 11 personnel kind of schemes where it's just kind of a two wide receiver look more of the time.
A little bit more punch you in the mouth.
A little bit. Well, they drafted players that like to punch people in the mouth. So it makes me think that they do lean towards that.
Yeah. And we're not the Cardinals. We're not running spread schemes where we need three receivers, so
right.
I mean, we don't need that type of wide receiver depth. The others do. Kendrick Bourne did leave in free agency, which sucks. He's one of my favorites.
I like him. He's got a great attitude. I loved him as a Niner. I'm going to root for him as a Patriot. He's got a cool attitude, and I hope he has fun in New England.
Yeah. I apologize if you hear my cat screaming.
Oh, no worries.
I don't know what to tell you.
It's obviously broken up that Bourne is now in New England.
I agree. It's understandable.
I get it.
All right. Well, I think that wraps up the show. Thanks everybody for tuning in and listening. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, sub to YouTube. We will be back with more episodes and live streams, and can't wait to talk more Niners.
Hell yeah.
Sounds like football, baby.